What is going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. At this point, I feel like I should be like a streamer or something like with the Hornets, just because of the fact that I like this new setup. I literally, if there's news, I can just hop over here, press start record, and then we're here. Like, I'm already recording everything. So I don't know, maybe that's something I'll do in the future, is just do live streams and talk about the news. But either way, we have news that I think is important to the Charlotte Hornets. Simply just because of the fact that, as you can see here, it says NBA draft deal. The Indiana Pacers are trading their number 23 pick and the rights to Mojave King, which I remember him. I remember. I didn't think he was going to be good. I thought we would hear more of him before, this. But still, either way, to the New Orleans Pelicans for Indiana to get their own pick back. So they're basically just trading 23 for something, that they have for a future pick they end up giving to the Pelicans at one point. And the reason I believe this is important to the Hornets is because of the fact that we have, and it is just me piecing together news. It's not anything more than that. It's just me piecing together the different smoke screens and telling me there has to be something there. It could involve the Hornets, it could not, but there's definitely something there. And so what I've pieced together is, earlier today, it was reported that VJ, more than likely, like it's a high probability that VJ Edgecombe will be the number 3 overall pick going to the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, when you can look at that as a smokescreen, as in, yes, VJ is going 3, will it necessarily be the Sixers? I don't know. Like that's kind of how you have to look at these smoke screens. But the idea is that he will go 3. Then that leaves the Hornets at 4. And so with the Hornets being at 4, we know that they have been, the idea has been thrown around that they could possibly trade back if VJ was not available to them. And then earlier today, also, we got the news that Ace Bailey's just basically almost tanking. Whether that's on purpose or not, I can't really tell. It seems as though, some people believe that he's just trying to go to a team where he could get the keys automatically. Like there's an easy path for him to get the keys to the organization. I don't see how you do that with Charlotte. So that's kind of like making me think that maybe Charlotte's not as interested in him anymore because of that. I don't know. It's just me taking the news for what it is. But you got that news. And then there was one other thing I feel like that happened. But either way, you can kind of connect the dot. Oh, and obviously the biggest one actually is the Pelicans it's been known that the Pelicans are in love with Ace Bailey. I think that all kind of leads to the Pelicans trading up to 4. What they give up and all that stuff, I have no idea. But the reason I say 4, because you could easily say like the Pelicans pick at 7 and now they have 23. Like they could possibly wait to 7, essentially with the idea that Ace has fallen. So why not wait till 7? The reason I don't think they can wait till 7 is just because if Ace is at 4 and the Hornets don't want him, then I think they shop that pick. Same with the Jazz, same with the Wizards. I think they all shop that pick if Ace is on the board and they don't want him. Now, where they go, I don't think they go far. Like, I don't see any of those teams trading out of the top 10 unless they get a crazy return. But as far as, moving within the top 10, I think that's very feasible. I just don't see how a team will let Ace fall to 7 all the way for the Pelicans. So to me, that just tells me they have the trade up. And why not 5 and 6 with the Jazz and the Wizards? I just see a world where, if VJ's taken at 3, the Hornets are like, we'll trade back to 7, we'll trade back to 6, and that just opens up to whoever could take Ace. And if you're the Pelicans, and what is true, what has been said to be true, if it is true at least, that they are infatuated with Ace Bailey, I don't see how you wait around. Even I don't care what the stock is going for Ace. This is the thing I think people forget about. There are, 30 teams in this league. So just because the Hornets may not be in, and I don't know, I'm just speaking, trying to put stuff together. But if the Hornets don't want Ace, then there are 20, and we're not counting the Pelicans in this case because they would be the ones trading up. There are 28 other teams who could be interested in Ace Bailey. And obviously, if you do the math, you probably take out the Mavericks and Spurs, but you get the point. There are 28 other teams who could possibly be interested in Ace Bailey, and you're betting against all of them at every pick. And I just don't know if you're the Pelicans, are you willing to do that? think you're just willing to go ahead and jump everybody. I don't think you're willing to wait and see what happens at 4 with the Hornets just because you know they may not be interested in Ace. Same with the Jazz. Same with the Wizards. I don't think you're not scared of those particular teams taking him, but you're scared of who they might deal with to take him. And if you're that in love with Ace, then it would be your prerogative to go ahead and trade up to 4. Just because of the fact that I don't see why you would wait till 5. I don't see why you, especially like the Jazz. The Jazz will be, shaky. They got a lot of young talent on their team. While, not all of it have panned out necessarily, but it's still really early for their rebuild. They will take on more assets, and then they can maybe package that with Lowry, and then there's a lot they could do. So it's just that you don't know exactly where the Jazz are going in the future. You don't know. I mean, I guess we all do know what the Wizards are trying to do, but once again, they're just going to take on assets if they were to trade that pick. I don't think that you're willing to just let that happen, just because those guys, fine, you can have this pick, just give us stuff back. Hornets are kind of in that similar position as well. If you're the Pelicans, I don't think there's a world where you allow that to happen, because I say the picks are cheap. They're not. It's just more so those teams will be willing to give them up because they know they don't want Ace. And I think that will be like what you're just concerned about. So I don't know. And then as we're recording this, I think I bookmarked it. But as I was getting ready to record this, it's also been made known by Jake Fisher. I had to read the whole article, but Hornets Reddit, as I've mentioned, Charlotte Hornets' own Reddit account, always just has good content. Just good, like a great curator of content. So they said, sources say that the Philadelphia 76ers and the Charlotte Hornets have signaled to rival teams that they will listen to trade offers until they're on the clock at 3 and 4 respectively. So as I mentioned earlier about the VJ thing, doesn't necessarily mean that VJ may go 3, doesn't necessarily mean that, it's with the 76ers. So that's just what like the draft is all about. You're not anticipating whether or not a particular team wants a particular player. You're more so anticipating kind of like the spot or the range the player will go, and you want to put yourself in the best position to get that player. If I'm the Pelicans and I really, really want Ace Bailey, I'm not going to wait and see if he makes it to 5 and then trade for 5 because it might be cheaper. I'm not going to wait and, wait till it fall. He may fall to 6 and see if it may be cheaper. And I'm definitely not waiting all the way till 7. You're giving teams the opportunity to jump in front of you. If I'm the Pelicans, I'm trying to bite the head off the snake essentially and get the highest possible pick to get the player I want. Because Ace can go, and even before like this season really started, there was rumors of Ace, not rumors, but people thought it would be possible, depending on what Ace did at Rutgers, he could go 1. So it's kind of slowly dwindled down. It went from 1 to 2, and then Dylan Harper took that spot, and now Ace is kind of seen as a third guy. Last couple of days, you could put him in the 4 or 5 range. I'm just not waiting for it. So that's why I think it could be important to the Hornets. Now, what would the Hornets want in return? I mean, 7 will be good. Like, if they're Knipple, like, he's been a big topic of discussion with the Hornets. If that's who they want, I think he could be there at 7, especially when you look at 5 and 6. Trey Johnson, I don't think so. And spoiler alert, because I haven't done this video yet, I'm preparing my notes, but that's who I want. I want Trey Johnson. I really, really, really like Trey Johnson. And we'll get into why in another video, but I don't think he's available at 7. I don't see a world where he's available at 7. I mean, the biggest thing is I would worry about the Jazz taking him. I don't think I really have too many concerns about the Wizards taking him, but I do have concerns about the Jazz definitely taking him. So then at 7, at least with Knipple, that's fine. I mean, we traded back. I told you all, like Ace, VJ, Knipple, Trey, I see the value in all 4 of them. I promise you, I cannot be angry about any of those players. Of course, I have my preference, but they're all in the same tier to me. The only thing is, like, I feel as though one thing the Hornets should be monitoring is, as I've said before, I feel like the team is really close to, like, imploding and not necessarily, reaching the heights that we want them to reach. I think that they may, we're like a season away from having to just not necessarily restart everything, but just reevaluate that process that we're trying to go on. And for me, I think it's important to value a guy that can kind of help you get out of that quickly, because even though it may be the right basketball decision, because we see teams do this when they turn over, front offices, you have to understand kind of your relationship with your fans. And we all know that the Hornets fans, like, we don't have, much patience left at this point. And it's not their fault, but still. So I think they have to take that in consideration. So if you're drafting somebody, you have to draft someone that can kind of get you out of that bottom of the league pretty quickly and kind of shoot for the stars. I don't know. We'll see. It just really depends on how the Hornets believe, they should go moving forward. But either way, I think it's just cause for a lot of interesting stuff. Here's where the reports start coming. I'm not going to sit here and say that like all this stuff I cooked up, I'm not saying that that's true. I'm not saying it will happen. I don't even believe it will happen. My thing is just piecing together all the smoke we got. I do believe there's something there. What the Hornets could want, as I mentioned a little bit before, I mean, if you're trading specifically with the Pelicans, I think you have to try to get Herb Jones. You walk away from this draft by trading back, but you end up with Knipple and Herb Jones. I really don't have any complaints about that. I really can't complain about that draft. And then, that's not even to say what we'll do with the second round picks, because I think like towards the end of this first round, there's a lot of turnover between who could go, in the first round, early second round. I think it switches every day, honestly. So I think that could put us in a really interesting position going forward. Jeez, my words. But yeah, I think that can really put us in an interesting position going forward. So once again, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Before we get out of here, I want to show y'all something. And, you don't have to support, but you know how it gets with the Hornets, right? Our season's over by June? Or not June, I'm tripping. Our season's over by like December, by Thanksgiving. And as a Hornets fan, as a someone that makes Hornet content, it makes it really difficult to continue talking about a team when our season's usually over by Christmas. So this year I wanted to start something new that involves all of basketball, and it's this page called Hoopernomics. I thought about doing a whole YouTube channel, but it's too much effort, and I really want to go all in on like Trust the Buzz. So I'm not going to do another YouTube channel, but I'll write, and it's something that I really enjoy. I found myself doing writing. So that's what I'll be doing on here. It's called Hoopernomics. I just talk about like cap space and trade ideas and stuff like that. I'm going to learn the cap this summer. Like that's a big goal of mine, is learning how the CBA and all that stuff works, and obviously continue to grow. So if you want to support, I really appreciate it. Right now, I'm literally just putting all the content on here. And eventually, I hope to have a Substack and all that stuff. But right now, everything's just going to be on here. I have like a little post I'm cooking up before Thursday's finals. But yeah, it just gives me a chance to talk about basketball without having to be too really involved. I'm literally more talking about the business behind basketball. So, it gets me out of like arguing who's better than who and what situation. It's literally just numbers, trade ideas, looking at history in terms of how things were valued and stuff like that. That's kind of like my biggest thing, what I want to do with this. So if you want to support, please do. But other than that, once again, I really would love to hear your thoughts on the Charlotte Hornets. I'm not reporting anything. I'm not saying I've seen it. I'm just taking all the smoke screens and saying there has to be something there. And I do believe it does surround the Hornets. If not, still, I think that at the end of the day, something's going to happen in that 4, 5, 6 range, and it's going to involve the Pelicans moving up. So I don't see, or now that I'm thinking about it, it could be Trey Murphy's gone. Like, it could be something like that too. It could be we need another pick because we're about to trade Trey Murphy. We need another pick because we're about to trade Zion. I don't know. But the Pelicans are definitely up to something. I don't think they take 7 and 13. That's like kind of like my takeaway. I don't think they'll be trading down. I believe everything they do will involve trading up. It's just a matter of like, what is that paired with? Is that paired with trading up to get Ace Bailey? Is that paired with trading, up and getting somebody else? I don't know. Or is it trading up like somehow from 23 to get, another lottery level player and then you're trading Zion? I don't know. But something's going on there, and I do believe, once again, it could involve the Hornets. And that makes the most sense to me. But I would love to hear your thoughts. And I'll see you guys when I record this Trey Johnson video, unless some more news pop up. Peace.